Last night I saw Expend4bles, so here are my thoughts on it. Real quick, before I let you know what I thought of Expend4bles, down below in the comment section, share what you thought of the film. Over on my channel, I have more content like this. Check those out. Once this video is over, click that like button and be sure to subscribe because it really does help a lot. And with that said, I'm just kind of doing this in one take. Let's just get into the review on this one. And I think, on a positive note, the actors on screen are having a lot of fun making an Expendables movie, just like they did with the previous 3 films. And what I enjoyed and appreciated about this movie is that it brought it back to the R rating. Therefore, unlike Expendables 3, it has more gore effects, it has more violence. And so, very much appreciated that they brought it back to the R rating and brought it back to the appeal of the franchise itself. But at the end of the day, this movie just wasn't a good movie to me. And for a number of reasons, like even in the theater, I kept pointing out things that I probably shouldn't be pointed out while watching a film in the theater. And so, right off the bat, when you're talking about the action here, whenever it cuts to a daytime sequence, there are 2 action sequences I believe that are in daytime. The one at the beginning with a car chase and near the very end, and they're both shown in the trailers. And every single time they cut to one of the actors on one of those action sequences, it just looks ridiculously bad. With the, like, it's so obvious that you could tell that they're in front of a green screen. And I just don't understand why. I mean, maybe if it was a release to DVD, release to video, direct to video action movie, and I just rented it and watched it, that probably wouldn't be such a big deal to me. But this movie is a big franchise film in the Expendables, and is a theatrical release with an actual budget. There's no excuse for how bad the green screen looks in this movie. And, like, especially, like, I kept looking over at my dad and my brother, and we were all looking at each other like, what looks off about these shots here? And, like, there's, like, shots of, like, close-ups of people driving cars, and then, especially, there's this part where they, like, zipline from a boat to a smaller boat. Painfully looks bad. It's atrocious how bad these green screen effects are in this movie. And so, right off the bat, with the budget, with the franchise name on it, it has no excuse for how bad that the green screen looks. Other thing to talk about here is that this very much is a movie where they pass the franchise on from Stallone to Jason Statham. And so, there are many sort of satisfying ways you could do that, where like Stallone's passing the baton to Statham. This is your franchise now, go make Expendables 5 without me. There's many ways in which you could do that. And this movie, I did not like at all how Sylvester Stallone's character was used, how it transitioned from him to Jason Statham. I didn't really like that at all about this movie. And because of this, like, the way it's structured, it has to be like some sort of scheduling conflict or something like that, but Sylvester Stallone is barely in the movie. Like, if you've seen the trailers of this movie, that's how much Sylvester Stallone is in this movie. Like, he's not in a lot of it. And so, the transition from Sylvester Stallone to Jason Statham was a bad transition. Let me just say that. Other thing to talk about here, this movie only has like 1 hour of plot in which you get sort of this cold open action sequence, and then it moves on towards our actual main plot, sort of revenge, stop the terrorist plot, and it's only at this one setting, and for most of the time, in which case it's a big, really long action sequence, but none of the plot actually moves forward for all that long, in which case it only really has like an hour of plot, and this movie's an hour and 43 minutes. And so, when you do that, there's an issue with your plot, with like the plot that you chose and the way you decide to execute it. Also, there's some twist reveals at the end that are meant to like shock you, and they just feel like exposition dropping. Like it's like a big twist, one that causes you to think about everything that happened before and causes you, but it just feels like information exposition dropped. And so, I'm a newer person to the Expendables. I watched the first 3 movies within the span of like the last 2 or 3 weeks. But even so, this movie was just so disappointing. And I wanted to like it more. I went into this movie so excited. I wanted to like it more than I actually did, because it was the movie that is my birthday movie. My birthday was just 2 or 3 days ago. Or no, to the day I'm shooting this, 3 days ago. And this was the one I wanted to be my birthday movie. Just an awesome action movie with people shooting machine guns at each other. And it's fun. I had a fun time watching it. It was entirely watchable. But as the movie that came out the week of my birthday, just a major letdown. And I was so disappointed because I wanted to like this movie more. But in general, I just couldn't give this movie a good review. And so, overall, my final score has to be a C. And this is a movie that it's fun, it's watchable, but it's not a very good action movie with bad effects, bad green screen effects, and just the story did not work for me. And so, those are my thoughts on Expend4bles. Over on my channel, I have more content like this. Check those out right now. Click that like button and be sure to subscribe. Down below in the comment section, share what you thought of Expend4bles. Thank you guys so much for sticking around to the end, and I will see you in the next one.